Welcome to episode 47 of our board game podcast, The Masters Degree and Rolling Terribly. I'm your host, Eddie, and joining me, a brand new and improved version of the GazoBot 2024 edition, now with 20% less sarcasm and 60% more sleep, Gaz. Say hi, 2024, Gaz.
Hi, 24, amazing, Gaz. Where do I download this update and get more?
Okay. You haven't got it yet?
Nah, I need the upgrade, but I think I'm running on old hardware and it won't run the new update. So it means you're going to get 20% more sarcasm.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you're more tired.
And I'm more tired, yeah.
Well, that's a bit crap.
I actually completely forgot how our intro worked, and then it wasn't until you started talking about it. I'm like, oh, that's right, I'm going to cop shade. That's
right. I was going to say, well, I forget the outro, so it's like we're bookends right now.
But you nailed it on our video, our end of the year wrap up video.
Yeah, I had it written down. It was really handy.
Have nothing other reason to watch that. Watch it just to hear Deddy now the outro.
I have it written on my hand, my notes. So we are in 2024, but not quite, because the episode releases in the new year, but we're recording still about 2 days out. So let's break that fourth wall just a little bit. But this is New Year. And speaking of which,
so we have
what do you have as a New Year's resolution, Gaz?
Wait,
even
so
though it doesn't start yet.
Talk about it like it is New Year's, even though it's not. I mean,
yeah, well,
it
is for people hearing this.
We're used to being in the future because we're in Australia.
That's right.
But not this far in the future.
We're just every year we're going to get slightly further ahead than everyone else. Watch out, Elon.
New Year's resolution. So I've got 3. The first one is to read the full Frosthaven rulebook.
Okay.
I know. And look, I mean, I might cheat and skip a few pages, but like, I'm sure I'll get the gist of it.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to enroll in an online geometry class.
Yep, gotcha. I get it. Yep.
Yeah, that's it. So
nice.
Little joke there for people who are in the Frosthaven community and give me shit all the time. And the last one is actually a real one, and I'm going to learn how to play the piano.
Wow. Okay.
Meaning wanting to do it for a really long time, and I reckon if I'm putting it out there on the internet, then people can give me shit when I don't do it.
100%.
And that will motivate me.
And we have a piano here, so you can come over here and learn, and I can record it. I can be like, what do they call pieces? Calvin told me they're pieces. What piece are you gonna perform for us today?
Play that song.
The Star Wars one?
Yeah, the Frosthaven one.
Oh, not the do.
Oh, the canteen. Yeah, I don't know if it's on. Yeah, maybe I'll learn that. So anyway, that's kind of mine.
Yeah, okay. I've only got one, and it's trying to be more positive. In that, if someone cuts me off when I'm driving, normally I lose my shit, and I'm just like, yeah, that's cool. I like, I made space for that guy. If I pull my null, it's like, you know what? That's awesome because it's given me another opportunity to better myself and better my turn so that I can do better next time. If someone takes all the loot, et cetera, and just not let things get to me. I reckon I can hold on to this as long as possible. Every time something bad happens, I'm just gonna look at the positives of that bad thing.
Yeah. So we should have a sweep or a pool. How long into our first session in 2024 until Deddy breaks?
Probably by the end of this episode, but technically it's still not next year. I got days of practice.
Yeah, negativity. Just get it out of your system for a few days. So
that's right. On today's episode, we cover scenario 73 because I don't think we had a choice. Flotsam. Is that how you say it? Flotsam? Is it Flotsam?
I don't know. I never remember.
Okay.
But anyway, this sounds made up. So
it's a weird name. Well, apparently I googled it, and flotsam is defined as debris in the water that was not deliberately thrown overboard, often as a result from a shipwreck or accident.
That's right. I remember you said that, and then Phil said that or something like that.
Phil explained it because I didn't know what it was.
And we're like, oh wow, just random knowledge from Phil.
Someone made a word for that exact situation.
Yeah,
for that debris.
Yep.
We're gonna open up our dirtbag again. We are gonna have a little chat about replaying classes, and we have a small user topic which we will cover right before we wrap up. All right. So We had no road event again this week because we were force linked thanks to Phil's PQ. We went from 72 to 73.
Which I have to
73,
say,
yeah.
if these weren't so enjoyable, I'd be hating on Phil and his PQ a lot more.
Yeah. That's completely fair.
Yeah.
But it has been relatively okay. After scenario 72, we were escorting a giant block of ice, right? Back towards Frosthaven. And we were on the Cinnabar. And the Cinnabar is Leroy's boat, essentially, right? And we were playing a game of cards, probably Bonanza, when suddenly mist envelops the boat and a giant wave smashes into the Cinnabar, throwing it into the Jagged Shoals. Not scenario 14 Jagged Shoals, just a different set of Jagged Shoals.
Right?
But could you imagine if we just go straight back there?
Yeah, yeah. Do scenario 14 again before you can continue.
Yes. Ripping our vessel to pieces. All that remains is a small, jolly boat, which is lucky because recent events have made us sad, and anything jolly will raise our spirits. I don't know what a jolly boat is. Someone enlighten me. We are set upon by ambushing a Bailey and their marine mates and have nothing but floating debris to stabilize us as we get rid of the fight. Also, this is a boss scenario. How exciting. Scenario goal, unknown yet. I love these. Huh?
So good. I loved it.
Yeah. I think there needs to be more of these, right? From a scenario variety point of view. I feel people will hate it because there's a lot of people that want the outline, what's the puzzle? What rooms are going in? What are the mob types? And knowing all of that information. We're the complete opposite, where we only know the first tile. We don't even have, even though you can use the tile reference to see where the tiles are placed and positioned, that's covered up in the scenario viewer app. So the only thing I can see are the boxes of blank where you press on that and it reveals what it is. And that's all I have to guide me as to how big something is. But it could be as simple as, different mechanisms trigger, which is just a wall of text or a bit of flavor text or something like that. So the fact that we go in and we have a scenario goal with a boss that is an unknown yet scenario goal is very cool already from the beginning.
Very cool.
Scenario rules, all hexes are treated as water, difficult terrain. If you occupy a bookshelf or a barrel, etc., you can move the tile with you, mimicking that you're floating on the debris as you move throughout the scenario. Also really cool. The challenge cards that we got this time, we had tight formation. Tight formation was whenever any character performs an attack while not adjacent to an ally, you add -1 to the attack, which was interesting. I can see a whole world of scenarios where that's quite interesting, especially because -1 over the whole scenario is actually quite a bit.
Yeah.
And budget rations. Whenever any character rests, they gain curse, which is pretty cool, especially in this one towards the end.
Thematic, right? Yeah. Like budget rations, we're on a boat just crashed. That kind of works.
I don't get it, but yeah, I believe you.
Okay. You know what rations are, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
They're not curses, though.
No, they're not. So I guess the curse is like you getting hungry.
Yeah, that's fair.
One thing I will say, just because we won't cover it later, is once you read out this is underwater, every hex is a water tile. I just my inner crab just screamed.
I was looking into this. I don't think it counts because they're used as, this is just, there were threads on this. There's actually a lot of threads about the rules of the debris movement as well as what does the underwater situation mean, because there's no overlay tile of the water. It's just counted as water for the purpose of difficult terrain. And I think that's it. And I think Dwarf did pipe in on some of it as well, and Isaac himself as well. But I'm not one that definitively remembers a lot of things, so I can't remember where the end was on that. But yeah, I don't know if it works. Similar to your solo scenario on the crab.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Oh, that's good then. He didn't miss out on an awesome scenario. Okay.
No, he could make double water though.
Having advantage. Yeah, well, that's what's weird, right? So, okay, cool. Oh, that's good. Then it's fine that he missed out.
Yeah. Our Pokemon. We brought along Weedy, the Ruin Machine. Pokemon is our pets because of our stable. That is the setup. Our monster combinations. We had Bell Herders, we had Scouts, we had Lightning Eels, Piranha Pigs. We also had a Fish King. This is what was shown to us in X-Haven, so that we knew that was the boss. That is our setup. Initial thoughts, Gaz?
Yeah, it sounded really cool. The water thing sounded like it was going to be a pain in the ass because you have to jump everywhere or like move slower. The debris thing sounded cool with like the surfing aspect of jumping on debris and cruising around and taking people with you. The monster types were a bit because bale herders are gross. Piranha pigs are gross. I don't really care about lightning eels, although the fact everything was water meant that they were going to become gross. So yeah, like it was. I went into this one with a lot of excitement, and I don't know. I think we talked about this on the last episode. Like I was really excited for this because the first two seemed really cool, and already this one seemed fun. Like I was like, okay, there seems to be enough here that's going to be fun to do. We have an unknown goal and a few cool, interesting mechanics that once we got our heads around, were pretty easy to do. I can't wait to see what happens.
Mm. I
Yeah.
100% agree. The rule change of the water just being everywhere and being able to move the debris with you. That tiny rule change just kind of thematically brought everything together, and it was just really cool. But also not having a goal, and not knowing what that was, along with just grab a debris, grab a floaty thing, and start heading that way, and we'll just see what happens. That was really enjoyable,
Yeah.
actually. So we started off in the first room. The first room had a bunch of lightning eels. Normally, this kind of situation kind of scares me. Lightning eels have always given us a little bit of grief with when they are birthed from wave throwers. And depending on the scenario, a lot of the times they're just there as an annoyance, especially in scenario 65, where they killed me and also killed themselves on Gaz's. That's the heist one. Um, Lightning eels have given us a bit of an absolute run in the past. But this time there's 6 of them in the room and we blew the crap out of them up.
Yeah.
Nice and easy. Low health, not really a problem. In fact, the one thing I was calling for was please stun me. Because I'm playing Shackles and that's one condition I can't give myself. I needed someone to give that to me. So yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah.
The fun game of working out how to navigate the actual debris was quite interesting. We had a bit of a discussion over some of the two-tiled ones with the bookshelves and the tables. That was really interesting as well because they thought of that when it came to, move a two-tiler. You can actually move a friend with you so you can both float together as you're navigating through all the obstacles and traps and things like that, which is also really, really cool. Also, electric eels are catchable, which is
Wow.
super exciting. I think we got one.
We did.
Um, yeah, which we'll reveal in the
Rider
ad
picks
process.
are also catchable. So we
That's
didn't have any
right.
on the board, and we were deciding whether we catch an eel, catch a pig. I think towards the end of the first room, I was next to one, had my turn. It was on 2 health or 1 health. So we're like, Phil just said, "Look, get it, then you don't have to worry about it, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, that makes sense. Like hopefully we'll have time to catch a piranha pig in the future."
I feel like there's more piranha pigs in the future than there are lightning eels for some reason.
Yeah, probably. They're more likely, right? Because the lightning eels get restricted by water tiles, and
Mm,
possibility that we're going to get herders, pigs, stuff like that. So yeah, that makes sense.
yeah. No, awesome. So yeah, we as a team collectively dispatched the first room. We
Mhm.
went into the second room. We had eels mid range. We had piranha pigs, herders, and scouts towards the back. There were a total of 11 standees in this room, with one herder, which means we can get more pigs. Has the potential to be extremely dangerous. And then there's ominous tiles. This tile's also really big, but there's ominous 3 letters actually towards the end, where all the mobs are lining up. And it was really interesting because I think I was quite put off by the amount of creatures that were in this room. There was a lot more than I expected. And I'll be real with you, even though we dealt with a lot of the content of this room, we spent a lot of time in here. Like way more than I expected. To the point where I was getting a little low on cards, and I think Phil was as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a really big room, especially considering you move at half speed. Like that's the thing. It's a decent sized tile, probably one of the bigger tiles. There was stuff on the other side. We were on one side. We had to get to the other end, and we're moving mostly at half speed unless we're cruising along a barrel or something like that. So, yeah, it was interesting because I think we kind of slowly move forward. They move forward. They've got some ranged attacks, and it kind of became this little bit of a we're all in the wrong place. It's hard to get to the right place, and yeah, when you factor in all those other things like a couple obstacles, Mark had some traps down. It did get a bit kind of I don't want to say squishy because it was such a big room, but it definitely was a bit like I don't know, we're just like stuck in one place, kind of moving around trying to kill things.
Well, they kind of pushed their way up to us. We didn't actually. I've got a photo as I was taking some throughout the scenario where they were actually we spawned the room and then we didn't actually move much because we were dealing with the eels that were right in our face, and then everything ended up next to us, almost to the point where Phil and I cleared our side because we were the northern side from my view, and you and Mark were on the other side. And Mark had his traps. He was building up his big nuke, and we left 2 mobs behind because we were taking so long in that room. It was like, you know what, leave them. Let's just keep pushing. And there was a piranha pig and a scout that was way behind, almost near our spawn almost, because they had to keep working. Mark was amazing with his traps. They had to keep working their way behind. And it just shows how like long we were in that room. Also, you need a new attack modifier deck because I think you are still on your streak of pulling at least 3 top deck misses every single scenario.
I fixed it. I got Phil to shuffle it.
Oh, right. But did you crit?
No, I don't think I drew much, but I'm sure I'm going to crit at least 5 times next time.
All right.
Like nothing but
Alright.
green and purples.
Yeah. So, yeah, we basically did exactly that. Now, there is a situation where we were running out of cards. We don't know how big this place is, and we know that there's a boss. It was starting to give me those feelings of Scenario 21 again, because Frost Prince, because we didn't know how many more rooms, and then when you get in another room and another challenge, you're like, oh, are we going to have enough cards? And we failed the first time on Scenario 21 because we just ran out, right? So it was kind of feeling a little bit like that going into this third room. The third room,
except that we did have a small vermling-like creature building a makeshift jury-rigged tactical nuke, right? Like,
oh yeah, he was babysitting the crap out of that, and he was very, very protective over it.
Yeah.
It was interesting because we know we're going into a boss, so it's kind of like he was just prepping from turn 1 ultimately, and
he had a test
escorting
run.
this nuke.
He built one up to about 12 or 13 or something like that. I'm sure it's on the DPS, and threw it at one of the herders. So I think he kind of built one up, threw it at herder, deleted that, and just as like a bit of a test, you know, like, oh, get my eye in, you know, see if this works, and blew him up. He's like, okay, cool, yeah, well, we should be able to build one for the boss.
That's right. We went into the third room actually, which is 2 tiles stitched together. We had 2 more herders, which is always kind of gross. Anything that's going to spawn something else, and they spawn the piranha pigs, does make me a little uneasy, just in case they slow everything down by spawning more stuff. We had 2 more pigs and a scout. The A spot is also in there, kind of towards the back of the room. And of course, there's a chest in the corner, which is always going to be one of those things that, you know, we're not going to get. Because there is a rule to spawn the boss is one person has to end their turn on the A spot, ultimately.
Yeah.
And we still didn't know what the 3 tiles of letters did in the previous room. So we kind of pieced it together and meted it a little bit and said, look, I guarantee it's probably going to spawn back there. Phil, get the chest. Oh, wait, you have to end your turn there. Then you have to spend another turn to end next to the chest. No, you're getting low. I'm getting low. Mark is doing all right. Oh, wait, no, he's not, because he's just been hit over and over and over again.
Yeah.
It was a tale of just misfortune for that man. He was just getting absolutely crushed by everything from all sorts of different directions, just due to tiebreakers and everything.
Yeah.
And then, we spawned the Fish King.
Well, yeah, that's exactly. I think it got to the position where like Phil was gonna get the chest, but he's like, this is basically gonna take me like 2 turns. Like he had to end and then move 2 and then end and then come all the way back over, and we were spawning the boss. So you know, it's like, well, we don't really want to do that.
No. So we spawn him. He comes with a herder and a pig. Yes, he comes back on those 3 before, on the 3 tiles that we missed. And by this stage, we are further towards the back of the scenario, not towards the spawn side, more towards the A spot side. He spawns with 64 health, which normally is like, oh, that's not too bad. We're pretty exhausted by this stage. This has also been a long scenario because of all of the creatures, all the standees, a lot of these fish-based ones with, you know, their Bailey and whatnot tend to also, you know, navigating all the tiles of difficult terrain versus what's not. Some of the admin definitely aid into it a little bit. But yeah. Oh, also we had the piranha pig and the scout that we left at the start that was starting to come in as well. And they were starting to impact it as well as they caught up. So instead of just the 3 spawning, there were 5 of them there. Kind of rough. New rules. When the Fish King is reduced to at most half its maximum health, rounded down, we read a thing. That's what we know. So that's That's our thing. And the second I read that, I was like, oh my god, it's a phase 2.
Mm.
The amDirt pod curse lives on. It's like a Simpsons prediction thing, except we bitch about something and then it happens the next session that we do it. Because we actually mentioned this, how we'll make a boss, we had a whole boss thing last
Yeah.
time. Phase 2. Well, we don't know what it is.
Just pause there for a sec.
Yeah,
Fix this fucking camera. This is just getting stupid. I'm getting further and further down the fucking screen.
I can see that. I was just letting it slide.
I can't. It's just so distracting because I'm like, all right, pick it up. So yeah. Yeah, it
Phase 2.
was. It was really, yeah, it was. It was really cool. And I mean, again, it just keeps happening every time we talk about something that it pops up and says, "Hey, by the way, I was listening. Isaac's sitting behind one of us, going like, oh well, I better put that in the game just for you." And yeah, the boss was just seemed really cool. Again, it sounded really cool.
Yeah, something I didn't. Now that we're mentioning this, all right, because when we say stuff, it happens conveniently. Something I really don't like about Frosthaven is that they didn't provide $50,000 in any of the envelopes, and I find this is a problem with my enjoyment of the game, and something I really don't like. So
You're
I'm
not
just
getting enough cash prizes as you play
just,
the game.
just
Yeah,
throwing it out there. I
yeah.
want to test the theory. Is he really listening?
That's it. That's it. So, yeah, and I think like this sequence of events was really really interesting because, as you said, we were kind of a bit drained on cards. We weren't sure what was going to happen. Mark's been building up on the trap, been building up this really big bomb, and he had a whole bunch of traps in an area. Like he had a decent sized one and a few around it, which he was going to all combine together. He's like, yeah, I've got the cards. Like he had about maybe 6 cards left or something like that. He's like, yeah, I should have 4 cards. I should be able to move over there, throw it. It should be fine. So we were kind of okay with the idea that we're going to be able to get that health down. Like it wasn't a big issue. But Phil was ages away. We needed him up close as the boss killer, like all that kind of stuff, right? Like it was all here. It's happening right now. And then the next thing that happened was it just threw the biggest spanner in everything, right? Like we had this kind of not planned out, but we knew what was going to happen, and there really wasn't anything that could go wrong, except the boss spawning and then having a turn, which pulled Mark because
Target.
it
It's
was
like target the furthest person within range or something, which happened to be, I think,
happened to
him
be
and
Mark.
me, and he won on the tiebreaker or something.
And not only pulled him away from his traps that he was standing next to, which he needed to be there to combine them, but also proceeded to wail on him. And then everything else had a turn that was there and also wailed at him. So I'm pretty sure he burnt about 4 cards in that one.
Yeah.
So he went from a position of like, look, guys, this is fine. And I think he went down to like 3 cards.
Mm.
Put it in a really interesting position because he's like, I now if I don't take any damage, which we had to go on to the next turn and hope that we could save him first. Like he had to get away, but he basically like had to move away, short rest, get his 2 cards back. Meanwhile, he's on like 1 health, right? So anything that
Mm.
tickles him is going to kill him. He had to get over there and then combine and then like throw, right? Well, he had 2 options, and this is where there was a lot of tension. He's like, depending on which cards I lose when I rest, right? I can either set it off and blow him up, or I can throw it, which
Mm.
requires AMD.
Yes.
Okay. Now, because of that low rations card, he's been putting curses in his deck, which I don't think he saw any of. Right.
Yeah.
But there was 2 or 3 curses in there, plus his miss, maybe a crit. So it was a really, really mixed bag. And he'd already, I think, had like 3 or 4 cards out. It wasn't a fresh deck. So he had a few cards out. So all of these things combined to have this, oh, what's going to happen? Okay, we've put our eggs in this trap basket, and now he has to either. Well, I was kind of secretly hoping he had to chuck it, right? Because I
Same.
wanted to see it, but
Yeah.
I also did not want to have to redo the scenario based on
No.
the fact that he drew a curse.
Yeah. By that stage,
So,
we were like 3.5 hours into it,
yeah,
like
well,
or something like that.
it was a big. We were planning on doing a couple of scenarios because we actually had the chance to catch up, being on holidays and stuff like that during the day, and we're like, oh yeah, we've got like 5 or 6 hours. We'll bang out a couple of scenarios. But this one, it just took a while, and not bad, but it definitely felt like one that if we had to just call it quits and go home and think about what we've done, and then come back after Christmas and redo, I would have been like a little bit annoyed. So it was. I wanted the excitement of the AMD, but I also wanted to
It's
do
tough.
scenario.
Yeah, it's tough.
So
So yeah, he managed to put it all together. He grabbed the remaining bombs, put them on top of each other to make one big supernova, and then he said, "I'm doing it." And I got a recording of it. I'm not gonna play it right now, but I will check it up later. But it's the recording of it where he gets to flip his modifier card, and I think he did it, and he pulled. So can you explain what is about to happen right now?
wow, we've gotten to a position where Mark is forced to throw a big trap. Mark, how big's the trap?
That one? No, I'm combining them all. So that'll be 5, 10, 20, 23 plus 38. 38. Okay.
So that's at 61.
Okay.
So that guy.
Onto the boss.
Onto the boss.
This guy here.
A 61 damage trap.
Yeah, so I have upped my attack so that it's range 4. I got it enhanced.
Yeah.
And now we are drawing it. Now he has 4
curses.
4 curses in his deck plus a miss. And let's not forget the crit. So let's see how much of an amDirt moment this is.
And he has how much health right now?
38.
38. All right. We need to get him to at least half.
Half, yeah, which we're going to double somehow. Yeah. So, all right, let's do it. Are you looking at
Is it just one card?
One card.
One card.
Hold your breath. What does that mean?
Text, but it doesn't matter. Hey!
And I think it was a +0 or something like that. Or there was text on it.
Very, yeah. It was one with text on it. So it was like kind of like, and then it had like heaps of text. And you're like, well, that's not one of the bad cards. So
But what does it do? Does it like remove your bomb and heal up or something? Like, I don't know.
I think you'll create another trap or something like that. So
yeah, so he did it. He threw it on the, and immediately, whoom, that boss's health. I think it was just some stupid amount of the 30 plus or something. I can't remember. Or he killed it. We damaged it earlier.
Yeah, I think he had it down to about 40 maybe, and he hit it for about 70 damage, just under. So he well overkilled it, right? Like well overkilled it, which means that the boss had dropped below half health.
That's right. Oh, and before, and I'd feel bad if I didn't say this. Right before this happened, and during the Mark was taking a lot of damage from everything, we threw our weedy into the mix, and he popped his little shield and provided us with much needed 1 shield mitigation for the round.
Did we recorded that, I think, somewhere?
Oh, probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think we've recorded what we did because I think we were going to try to keep track of the stats of each of each pet.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they'll do something so we can kind of.
I think Phil definitely marked something. It's just not on the chart, but I'll have to grab it.
Yeah.
So Mark shoots, he scores, and then the fish screams at us, and the fighting stops. You know, one of those cliche enough moments. And it was like, oh, okay, cool. I thought we were fighting, right? And Fishman then proposes us with an offer. He says to us, we can either join him to retrieve the 3rd piece of scale so that he can fuck the lurkers, which is pretty tasty. Like we kind of want to do that. Do we want to fight the fish or do we want to fight the lurkers? Now, we were discussing this for a little bit. And then finally I piped up and said, look, it's Phil's PQ. Maybe he should choose. And everyone was like immediately like, yeah, throw it on him. And Phil was like, kill him. So we were like, okay, I guess we're not siding with him. And then we didn't get to kill him. He slips away and he says, I'll get you next time, Gadget. Yeah. And yeah, basically the scenario is done. We didn't get to finish the round. We didn't get to.
Is that important for anybody?
Don't know. I don't think Phil needed it. I don't think Mark needed it. I would have liked a bit of extra XP. How about you?
I was robbed. So I'm going to have a really mini rant here to explain my frustration. Okay. I think I talked about it a couple episodes ago. I finished the scenario like 2 weeks ago, 2 XP short of leveling up to 4, right? I've been 3 for forever. And so and then it was a forced link. So no, I was 2 XP short. Everyone went back and leveled up. I was like, okay, I guess I'll get 2 extra XP the next week. Fine. Did the next scenario, got my 2 XP and a bunch of others. and then it's a force link, right? Which we should have known going into, but we didn't look at. So I could have been annoyed ahead of time. But anyway, I was annoyed at the time because I'm like, great, I just leveled. We can't go back. We could do the stupid, we'll just fail the first scenario, go back and go back. But I'm like, no, let's not cheese it. So anyway, I was like, okay, that's fine. And I looked at it like, maybe I could like go real hard and I needed 31 XP. And the previous week I'd gotten a good chunk because I've found a really good flow with getting my formations off. And so I've been getting a decent amount of XP.
You really
Anyway,
have.
I've been like, all right, cool. I'm going to hammer this and get as close as I possibly can. So I'm going really hard. And I got to the point where I knew how much XP I needed to get, right? And I had basically looked at it and like, okay, I need like 4 XP. And so I had a turn, got 1 XP. Next turn, I'm like, okay, cool, I need 3. Great. Well, I need 3 XP. I have 2 cards here. I'll play them and I will go. And I think I went at 26, right? So I'm like 26. I should get in first. Mark goes at 24, or it might have been like 21 or 23. I can't exactly remember, but I know he was
Around you.
after. He was very, very close to me, right? He does this, he goes there, blah, blah, blah. Boss goes, yeah, okay, cool. I'm going to disappear into the night. Snow ends. And I'm like, wait, hang on. Snow ends. But we get to finish our turn, right? And you're like, no, it just says it's the end of the scenario. I'm like, no. Because I'm 3 XP off leveling twice, right? That was my catch up. That was it made the whole thing worth it because it meant that I leveled. Even though I kind of missed a whole thing, and I just played these 2 cards. Literally, nothing else had to change. I just had to put the 2 cards down, and I get 3 XP.
Mm-hmm.
And
what I'm hearing is you didn't factor in before the fill timer. None of us did, and we now have. You just forgot about the mark timer. That's 2 people now that have booked your XP and leveling up, and just thrown you off tempo. You were just on the opposite side of tempo, which is exciting because, look, there's a silver lining. Positive Denny, okay? Silver lining. You've got next time, and you could double XP on the next.
I'm not playing that game. Nah. You know what? I'm just going to burn all my cards in the first turn.
Oh, no.
Look, good luck. Hopefully we have to repeat this scenario, and I can do it all again, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to farm levels off the next scenario. Right, and you guys can 3-man it on difficulty for 4 people.
Okay, so, sounds good.
Yeah, you've seen the fill timer and the mark timer.
Phil, Mark, this is what you guys have done. Okay, you guys have done this. You've created this villain. Okay,
exactly. Just wait till you see the gas timer, right? Yeah, it's like, oh, cool. How quickly can this guy exhaust?
Well, you've shown us before in the past.
Oh, snap.
So rewards. Gain 3 collective wood, which makes sense thematically because it's floating everywhere. And we add a section in for 5 weeks, which still isn't as bad as my PQ. So
I'm fine with that.
Right. So far, yeah. What were your thoughts on scenario 73?
I loved it. I thought it was really cool. Yeah, it was really cool. It was a fun scenario to play. It was hard. Hard as in it provided challenges. The mob types are particularly hard, the way they work, and they just hit really hard. There's a lot of variety in what they do. I think we got railgunned a few times. So for those don't remember,
but the railguns kept missing, dude. That guy could not hit.
Yeah, that's true. The railgun is the one that the herders pull that they deal damage and range based on how many pigs are on the thing. And we named the railgun because in 14, when there's like 7 pigs on there, the dude on the other end of the map's just like firing off shots and insta-killing people. So they pulled that, I think, 2 times and shot Mark and missed both times.
Yeah.
So, and then I think it came up a couple more. But yeah, I had a really good time. There was a lot of fun moments. It was long, but I feel like, you know how you watch a movie sometimes and it's a really long movie, like usually a Tarantino movie or something like that, but you get to the end of the movie and you're like, wow, that was long, but it was really good. Like I really enjoyed it. I don't really want to watch it again. Not anytime soon anyway, but I'm glad that it was the length it was because it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about this one. It was a lot of fun to do. It had a cool ending, a lot of really good moments, and I'm just really fucking glad we don't have to do this one again.
True. I think you're right. I think having this phase 2, but it wasn't actually a phase 2. It was like to further the story ultimately. And end the scenario then. If they actually had a phase 2 where he just did some other crazy shenanigans or more things spawned or all of a sudden there was an escape thing, that's where it pushes it just kind of into the little bit too much.
Yep.
Potentially. Whereas no, it was really, really clever and took me by surprise. Very much took me back to the scenario 21. I think this is the only one that reminded me of that from a boss point of view. but also reminded me a little bit of Scenario 10 in that it felt down to the wire, because if for any reason Mark missed and we managed to get him by half, would we still survive long enough to get him for the remaining half? We didn't know there was a second half or not, right?
We were factoring in the fact we're going to have to kill him, right? That something would happen. And I think we kind of guessed that it wasn't going to be spawn more dudes. Because I'm like, there's no way. Like, I was of two minds. I was like, it's either going to be kill him or it's going to be get to the chopper, basically.
Yeah.
Like, someone has to get to A with the lifeless body of what's his face.
Leroy, yeah.
Right, yeah. So it was. I didn't think it was going to be like here's 20 more like mobs to kill. Go nuts, because that would have just been dumb at that point.
Yeah.
But it was really cool. I like the way that it was set out. So yeah, hopefully more of that. And I think we talked about it, but I don't think we knew at the time. Who's the designer for these last three?
I wrote it down. Lost it.
All right.
I actually wrote it down, but I think it's been lost in my notes.
Whoever you are, great job.
Yeah, I think it's Ross. I'm just gonna go with Ross and Ross, the boss, Lion.
No, I don't think that's it. Anyone who isn't an Aussie Rules fan knows what we're talking about.
He does slow methodical play.
He does.
So it's Rob Rouse, and Christian Wakeman.
Okay.
Both designed this chain.
Well done, both of you, because so far these three, even though I didn't play the first one, have all been really cool.
Yeah. No, I agree. I got nothing to argue with there.
Cool.
How would our mate go in this scenario?
Slowly?
Yes.
I don't think it would have been that bad, honestly, because he would have moved real slow and we probably could have done a better job of protecting him. Like, it would have been more of a 4 protect 1 style move through, make sure he doesn't get booked. Because we have a lot more control. This wasn't one where things could sneak up on him. So I feel similar to the scenario we actually got him on, we could have just changed our play a little bit.
But because we went relatively hard and aggressive, and we still almost, like, several of us still almost ran out of cards. So that would have slowed it down even more, looking after him potentially. Yeah,
potentially. Oh, I'm not saying it would have been easy, but in comparison to how the flow of this one was okay, because I feel like we needed just to move through the scenario and he needed to follow us. And anything that I think is like that is a better Ormi scenario than one that's like, here's one room, he's just gonna do whatever he wants. Like I think someone was talking about, was it scenario 70 something?
65. 65. Oh, sorry. Yeah, 66. 65, 66. The one with the TD where he just ran off. Yeah.
Yeah, they were like, he went to try to solo a Chaos Demon. That did not go well. So, something like that is no good. It's no good. But
community-wise, just mostly rules questions about how the water works and, how flooded is it and how high is the water level and all that kind of stuff. Battle calls for scenario 73. All right, we had assistant. Assistant was kill an enemy attacked by any of your allies earlier in the same round. I think this was done and announced. I think this was Mark. Was it Mark?
No, it was me.
Oh, was it? Oh, yeah. Oh, you were waiting forever for this.
Like, so bad. I think I set one up where I was just like, Phil did an attack and I was like, can you not, for like personal reasons, can you not kill that? And he's like, sure, whatever. And then I went up and missed it or something like that. I think that's when I top decked my miss. I was like, any card that has anything on it other than the miss symbol is completely fine here and it'll die. Oh, there we go. There's the miss. All right, cool. So, yeah, that was a pain in the ass. But I did get it in the end.
You did? It was great. We had Bully kill an enemy that has 2 or more negative conditions. I think that was Phil.
Yeah, he got that as well, didn't he? Yep.
Kill 2 or more enemies in the same round. That was me in, I think, the first 2 rounds on the Eels. I think it was burn to both ends, infection purge, or one of those 2. It was just 2 targets, boom, boom, blow up. It was great. Set and forget. We love those. And Vanguard, never attack an enemy that has already acted in the round. And I think that was Mark's, and I don't know whether he got that. I think he booked it early, actually.
Yeah. He said he read it the other way around. So it's never attack anything before it has its turn. And then I think he hadn't booked it by that point. But then it became tricky in certain circumstances. So
2 hard basket. Our DPS meters for this We had me on 37, Gaz on 43. Gaz is definitely, and this is something I am noting, you're definitely nailing your more formations a lot more now. And what's helping you with this?
A little bit of communication, I think. Like, honestly, it's
Any squires?
I've summoned the Squire a couple of times. This one he got summoned and then realized that he couldn't swim, so he got unsummoned very quickly. So no, and then he came out and got wounded and didn't get a turn and died. So rip Fred. So we will have a new Squire next week. No, I think it's just been talking to Mark's been really good to kind of go like, hey, where do you want me to go? Or hey, because what I'm finding a lot is that at the start of my turn, people are in the right position for what I want to do, and
You're
I'm like,
checking.
yeah. Whereas there was a couple of turns, like it's maybe last week, where I was like, I had my turn, and then like, sorry, I picked my cards, and then Mark went before me, for example, and he moved. I'm like, oh, I forgot to mention that I need you there, and I didn't plan around that. So it's just asking. It's like, hey, you're moving, and Phil's the same. Yeah, I know it's ridiculous, right? Like, hey, can you end up there? And
You asked me several times, are you moving? And I'm like, no. He goes, okay, cool.
yeah, that's it.
I'm set up, right?
And and there's going to be times where that needs to change depending on initiatives and what monsters do and stuff like that. And so it's fine. Like, it's not a be all and end all because not yet any of the formations, unless it's like really pivotal. But like it's an XP and some damage. But it's kind of like, well, I don't want you copping 2 or 3 extra hits because I want you standing next to them. But yeah, it's been good to do it. I think going late has been something that I've started to do.
Oh,
So
okay.
rather than this
With
idea
your
you just
6.
always go early. Yeah, well, the 6 never goes first, right? Because it's like every other card goes before it. I tell you, I think I said it when we were playing. The amount of times I've not gone first in a round when I've played a 6 is ridiculous. Like,
It's actually
ridiculous.
funny.
Like, what is it? Flame Demons, Chaos Demons, Phil,
Wind
and
Demon.
Wind. Yeah, I don't know. There's like 3 or 4 different instances.
You've gone
Multiple times.
4th on a 6, I think. Like, it's just
Like, come on, like whatever. So yeah, I found going late. Going late's helped a lot, and just kind of planning and being like, hey, you want to end up here? So
Phil had 86. And Mark, for the second week in a row, top of the meters at 88 on the trap. Well done.
yeah, good job, mate.
Would have been a completely different situation if he pulled a miss or a curse. Very, very fun, though. Damage taken, Gaz took 17. Then we had Phil on 23, Mark had 24, and I took 39. And then healing, Mark healed for 2, which must have been 1 long rest. We've got Phil on 12, we've got me on 24, and I think a new amDirt record, Gaz on 54 healing.
Holy shit!
Yeah, that's
That
nuts.
well, one of the cool moments, the we get this question occasionally, like, hey, what are some of the cinematics moments that have happened? If you were to put into a film and stuff like that. And I think one of them would be you jumping onto a bookcase to go surfing and me chucking a banner on the back of it. So you were surfing around with the banner on the back, healing everything.
I can't remember whether or not we checked later if that was legal or not.
I think it is because it's tokens.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it said tokens. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I
That's
think
right.
you'll probably message us during the podcast if
Yeah.
we got it wrong. So
either way, it was cool. It was thematic, and yeah, we did it. So yeah,
we
take
made it
that.
hard somehow. So I'm sure that's fine.
100%. Yeah, that's DPS meters. Outpost phase, we went back. We got attacked again. We're getting a lot of that. It is winter, so we're expecting a lot more of that. We had a new attack card that involved wrecking our workshop. Now, this is what's really interesting about this attack card or this outpost phase card, outpost event. This one actually had keywords on it when we selected whichever option we went with, right? Every attacker is, do you want to help these people or do you want to fight these people? It's not the most interesting decision in the world. This is the few times that the keyword has hindered us because we didn't match up with the keywords on it. And it was like, oh, well, if that happened, something bad happens, but no effect if you didn't have any of those words, which I thought was really interesting, really, really cool, actually.
And it was a funny feeling at the table because it was like, okay, you choose that. All right, do we have whatever it was? Do we have this keyword attribute? And we're like, round, no. I'm like, oh, like, do we have this race? And you're like going around the tables like, no. And you're like, don't worry, that's really good. It's like,
well, I'm counting around and I'm like, okay, we've got What's Mark? What's the trap? It's
The
Quattrel.
Vermling?
Quattrel.
Isn't he a Vermling?
No, he's a Quattrel.
No.
Little gizmo and gut. Is it? Oh no, maybe he's a Vermling.
You racist.
I don't know. Either way, we get to you, and I'm like, what are you again?
Yeah, human. Like, what? There's humans in this?
Yeah, it was really deflating having a human with us because it's like, what do you do?
Boring humans.
All right, so we go there, we level up. I think some of us, I don't know, may have leveled up and all that kind of stuff. How far off are you?
Oh, 3 XP, smart
Oh,
ass.
3. I thought it was 2. It's not okay.
2 the other time.
Oh, okay, that's fine. That's completely fine. We went back
The third time, I've been 2 XP off twice and 3 off this time and 3 off this time.
Just squeeze that a little bit more and you'll get back on track.
Yeah, sorry, it's me. I'll try harder. Yeah, thanks.
We got a new pet. We brought back a lightning eel to throw into the stables. We spun the wheel. Who became our lightning eel?
Was it what?
It was what?
There we go. Congratulations.
What? Congrats.
So what?
You are
Lightning out.
Yeah. Now we're gonna practice dueling Wart versus Weedy, like training, and they're just gonna fight each other.
What does it do?
Oh, it's the one that gets a cut. Everyone can get a cut like a stamp pot.
Oh, that's right. That seems really good. Oh,
I think you take 2 damage or something. Take damage or 2.
That's right. Yeah. I think I know we talked about randomizing which pet we take on there, and there's a lot of discussion about whether that's actually a rule or not. And like, no, that's just us making the game harder for ourselves.
Yep.
But I think what we should do is when we unlock a pet, we need to take it on the next run, right? Like that by default, that means every pet will go on at least 1 turn before we start randomizing.
Yeah, let's throw Weedy in a cage. And he won't come out until we've run out of new pets.
No, yes. Yeah, well, potentially, yeah. He might not get another crack at it until, so.
Nah, he served the purpose. But no, having Wart, the lightning eel, I think very exciting. And we'll see whether or not he can come out with a clutch play. It's all really up to him. It's not up to us. Dirt bag. I received an email literally about an hour before we jumped on to record this.
Oh, this is exciting.
And I decided to throw this in there because it was really cool. So I don't know if you remember, but back in July, we received an email from a gentleman called Jason and his son, Noah. And it was a father-son.
I remember apologizing for being Australian and our foul language.
Yeah. So his son, I think, was 14 at the time. I think, I'm not sure if although he's in high school. And they played together. And they reached out again after like 6 months or so. And he just said, this is Jason and my son Noah. We emailed months back. It was great having you read the email on the pod. Just a little update from us and thoughts on your continued adventures. We continue to adore the pod. Look forward to whatever scenario you're up to with all the blow-by-blow details, analysis, and jokes. As for us, I'll start with sauce. In the fridge. Sorry. Though you make a good point about who wants cold ketchup. Usually the hot dog or hamburger heats it up enough for us. I'm glad he went straight for the important, reply first, right? Straight there. We're nearing the end of Frosthaven. About to start the last set of finishing scenarios while Noah is on break from high school. It's taken us about a year. We have done about 90 scenarios, could probably have finished earlier, but went down many side paths. Also coming up on the end of the 4th winter, intentionally timed it so the last scenario can be the last day of the last week on the sheet and just hit level 9 prosperity, which is pretty cool. The game still completely rocks, and this is my first choice almost every time. The diverse characters we have played, retired, and often come back to, we've fudged to unlock them by now, drive a lot of the maintained interest. The scenarios continue to be varied and creative, maybe the strongest point of the game. And that's something we've definitely aligned on, is that he praised us in our old email, that we liked the variety, the crazy amounts of variety that we've been getting in a lot of the scenarios that we've had. It's not that we hate puzzles, it's just, that said, we have run out of gas for the outpost phase and quickly middle through, often skipping steps. We also quickly ran out of gas for the puzzles. Thank you, Internet, for getting us through. It's not that we hate puzzles, just didn't do it for us. Not sure if you've ever played Oathsworn, more on that game later. They have puzzles we adore. Our favorite characters are Meteor, Drill, Snowflake, and Blinkblade. Those are the 4 we are taking to the finale. Honorable mention to Bone Shaper, Drifter, Kelp, and Diamond, which I think is Prism. There were not any classes we disliked, though we usually played 2 people, so one character each.
Yeah.
And failed a bunch during one streak, with Trap getting all the blame. Lol. A couple thoughts on recent episodes. I love the changing mix of characters you play. The boss discussion at the end of episode 46 was great. Really enjoyed it. I agree boss scenarios in Frosthaven vary greatly in quality. We also loved and had to repeat the Frost Prince, while the end of the Algox line was disappointing. Oathsworn is a boss battler board game that rivals Frosthaven in its quality for us. They have 21 chapters that each end in an epic boss battle that is challenging and often downright scary. That game has the boss formula done right. Even though the characters are less complicated than in the Havenverse, we recommend the game. Getting ready to start our third playthrough. Third. Gaz has been on a jag, it feels, recently about how movement is boring. Couldn't disagree more for us. Love characters with additional moves or tricks, teleport jumps, top moves, double moves, that let you get around the board easily and often accomplish multiple things. Swiftness Potion, I don't know what that is standard for us for the flexibility mid-turn. Movement feels empowering, not boring. I like smashing the baddie as much as the next mercenary, but moving, hitting, flipping over an obstacle and looting the treasure chest or objective in the corner is super fun. Anyways, keep up the good work, Jason and Noah. But also I think that you were referring to not the movement so much, but the objectives that involve a lot of movement.
Correct. Yeah, and look, that's great to hear from Jason and Noah. Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And yes, to clarify, movement is great, and I think it's a really cool part of the game. When literally you have to spend your entire 5 turns of a scenario literally just moving, like move. It's not. But yes, that's sounds like you guys are having a great time. I don't know anything about Oathsworn. That's the most I know about it now. So maybe we can add that to the list of games that we need to play and record and do a podcast on.
Look, I've heard a lot of people that are saying that is where you turn after you finish Frosthaven and you've got nothing else. So this one's a good one. I do have it here. It's I just don't know whether or not I want to, but jumping into, I mean, we have a pod as well, but jumping into a large campaign style game, it's kind of like there's a few different options, and I don't know how long Frosthaven's going to take. 2.0 is around the corner, or is it? I don't know. There's so much uncertainty, so it's kind of hard to work it out. But I mean, do you want to sit there and bang out campaign after campaign with your son as a father-son duo is super enviable. I think that's a word. And yeah, I think it's awesome. I mean, you've been doing that with HeroQuest, right?
Oh well, yeah, we played one scenario, and yeah, it's just it was a lot of fun. So introducing the kids to those games. So yeah, but no, look, thanks so much for writing in. It's awesome to hear from you and how much fun you're having with it. I agree from a class perspective. I haven't seen any of the classes so far that have been like meh. Look, there's some that I probably wouldn't choose to play given all the classes, but if I was forced to play one of them, I wouldn't be like no, right? Like, wouldn't be like no, I just refuse to play that. So yeah, I think again, it's we're only halfway through ish, and yeah, I mean, unless the game gets real boring, like and plain, which I mean, I don't know. It's not like hopefully they didn't phone the second half in. But interesting call about the puzzles and the outpost phase. Because we've talked about outpost phases, right? And how it's pretty controversial around people who like them or dislike them. And one of the things that would be interesting is how much people have played before they come to that opinion. Like, I don't think maybe we were a year and a half in of like the amount of the kind of Frosthaven time before we had that conversation with Weedy, and it was brought up that it was maybe a little bit stale. I wonder if people are getting to that same point. I mean, is it 3, 4, 5 weeks in that people are like, "Oh, this is garbage and I hate it," or is it like after it starts grinding to a point where it becomes not really interesting? So yeah, it's an interesting topic of conversation because it's such an important component of what keeps the game going.
Well, I have a different viewpoint that I had in previous discussions about this that I've only just thought of, and that is in our sessions, I look after the eventing part and the road events and all that. You manage the inventory, and then Mark and Phil kind of just sit there and take it in, etc. Does that change people's opinions? So in any given group, is there one guy controlling the whole thing and he's over it? He's like, oh, it's a chore to him because he's got to go through the whole thing, whereas the other 3 are enjoying it because they're like, oh, wonder what happens next. I wonder what. They don't have to do anything. Or is it the opposite? And it's the 3 people going, oh, I don't do anything, so I'm bored. Whereas the one guy sitting there doing it all is having a great time.
Yeah.
And that will change depending on the group, right? It'll be different mixes of, people potentially hating it for those reasons.
Yeah.
Because they're not doing anything. Whereas, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of factors that go into it. Like, it's not terrible, but I can definitely see how some people would get bored with it. And I mean, even just like last week, the outpost event and process of going through the outpost phase was lackluster. Like nothing happened.
Last week,
Yeah, like you got
because we
attacked.
didn't do one. We got force linked.
No, like the one that we just
I
did.
don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like the one that we just did was just kind of like, oh, okay, we got attacked. We did flip some cards. We spent some resources. We upgraded building. Didn't get anything from it. Like, it's like, okay, cool. Well, that was a pretty boring one. But then the next one might be really big when we retire a character and unlock buildings or get choose your own adventure style outpost events, which kind of just make the whole thing really cool. So yeah, it's kind of like Frosthaven, I think it's a bit of a mixed bag.
Yeah. Speaking of going back and playing old classes, replaying classes. Now, this is something that I actually said a long time ago in one of our early episodes. It's probably unlikely it's going to happen. It's looking more and more likely that it's going to be a thing in our campaign. I don't think we've actually asked you or myself, etc., if you had to pick something else right now that you had to replay, right? Not necessarily one that you've replayed, right? Just one that's replayed. If you had to roll a character right now, what would your character be?
Yeah, it's a really good question.
I'm in two minds. I'm half between wanting to replay the Shackle and try a different playstyle, right?
I've even played through it once.
I know. But the other another part of me that thinks that I would like to share it also with someone else if someone's interested, right? At playing it and having their own feel with it. The one that I'm more likely interested in playing at the moment is the media, and giving that a red hot go as well.
Oh, I see what you did there.
I see what you saw I did there.
Yeah, well planned. Yeah, probably. I wouldn't mind having a look at the Bone Shaper. But I mean, the only thing with that is it did seem to become pretty one-dimensional once you got to that, like the higher level.
Well, isn't there a ranged pet build around the Wraith?
I don't know because I think only the skeletons you can resummon. I don't know that for sure. I haven't looked into
Yeah, I
it.
don't either.
But
Because Mark didn't pick either level 9 cards. I mean, I think he mentioned one was for a range build or something, and I was just like, oh, that's why he didn't pick it. So
yeah. So look, maybe that depending on how it went, and played around with those different cards. So yeah.
Who do you think Phil would pick?
I'd play the Geminate again.
Yeah, okay. That's cool.
If I had to replay a character that I'd already played.
Yeah. Who do you think Phil will play again?
The Deathwalker.
So do I. I think that.
100%, right?
He'll be Deathwalker, Blink Blade, Deathwalker, Blink Blade.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. He's like...
yeah. Medusa. And then Mark.
If he had to replay a character that had already been played, I don't know. Maybe the Drifter.
I'm thinking that too. Yeah.
I mean, I know he wants to go smack stuff, right? So that's why he's looking forward to the fist. Once like he retires the trap, but I think if we didn't have the fist out, his urge to go right click and whack stuff would probably get satisfied with the Drifter.
Yeah. Okay. I wonder whether or not we all get swindled, and the fist is a squishy range support with a pet.
I don't know if it's necessarily going to be a Hulk, right?
Yeah.
I feel like if it is that, it just I don't know how they do that with and be better than the Drifter or the Brute from Gloomhaven. I feel like it's got to have some trick to it, right? Because everything's had a trick.
Yeah.
It can't just be like its trick can't be like you just do heaps of damage. Like that's not really.
That's a good point.
So imagine it's going to be interesting, and that's why I'm really excited when we unlock new classes, even if I'm not playing them, because I'm someone that loves learning mechanics, reading rule books, except for the Frosthaven one, understanding how the design has gone together, like what do the abilities do, and how does that all synergize. So that's why I really enjoy unlocks, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the fists thing is, like what it's kind of it's jam.
Well, it's funny you say that because we had a topic in our amDirt Discord topics channel from Lunacy asking us to design a character for each other.
Yeah, good timing. What a segue by accident. So now we did this without consulting the other person.
Yeah.
Right? So we just did this and we designed a character for each other. And I thought I was pretty much done. And I'm like, wait, hang on. What if we both designed the same character?
Is it a door guy?
Yes.
Okay. Then yes, we did. No.
Oh, okay, good. Because I was like, oh, wait, I could do the Doormancer, but like, is that what I've done? But I was really worried. So, but sounds like we haven't. So it's not ruined. I may as well go first because I've already reviewed.
Yeah, sure.
So for Detty, this is a class made for Detty, okay? So to just fill his boots with all the goodness that he wants out of Frosthaven.
Oh, nice.
All right. So the Doormancer,
Mm-hmm.
hailing from the labyrinth world of IKEA door department, this mysterious traveler harnesses the untapped power of doorways. Okay. Now, several of this class's abilities allow the placement of closed doors.
Ooh.
All right. Now, these doors can only be placed in hexes where they would close a path off. Okay. So, very different to the rule that you
Ooh.
can't place an obstacle that closes a path off. This you have to. Okay. So, they have to either have an obstacle or corridor tile adjacent or opposite so that it blocks it off. Right. Now, they act like regular doors. Okay. And can be opened by players moving onto them. So, they're just the same as that. And they cannot be opened by monsters. And while the doors are closed, right, they are considered obstacles. But if they're open, they're just considered empty hexes.
Right.
Okay. Now, this is a character with medium health, which we've been informed is drifter health.
No,
Okay.
I've been very wrong on that. Dwarf, yes. Dwarf has pulled me off, as I've said. I keep saying Drifter health is medium. I went and checked the card because I didn't believe him. It is definitely not medium. It is definitely tanky, high health.
Oh, is it? Is it high?
Oh, yeah. Drifter health is high.
Oh, okay, cool. So it's not drifter health. Okay, so I got that
No.
wrong. But this is still medium.
Yeah.
You have 11 cards in your hand.
Okay.
All right. I think that's good. Okay.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to go through some of the cards of note. Okay.
Okay.
So with these, I'll tell you the name of the card and what it does.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So the first one is, don't worry, I'm playing support. Okay. Right. Now this is a persistent. Okay. Now the only text on this is actually for the top and bottom. So it only has one use. Okay. Now when you play this and you play as a persistent, anytime you would deal damage with an attack ability, heal one ally for half of the damage done.
Oh, okay. Shadow Priest.
If that healing causes an ally to reach or exceed their maximum HP, you get to bless yourself.
Oh, you're encouraging me to actually support.
Well, I'm encouraging you to do
Clever.
damage. Yeah, exactly. Now, here's the kicker. If this card is not selected in your starting hand, at the start of the scenario, you must swap this card in for one of the cards in your hand.
Oh, okay.
So you have to take it. You have to take it.
Yeah.
There's no way out of this, right?
They're very, very well tuned.
All right. Next one. So that's a persistent card. Okay. Next one. Any door's a door. So persistent. Anytime you move through a door, open or closed, you may teleport to another open door before continuing your move ability. If you do, heal one and gain strengthen.
Oh.
All right. So you get to teleport between doors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next one. Bastion of Hope. Place one closed door within range 5, following door placement rules, as we've already read out. Allies can count this door for achieving battle goals.
You've just single-handedly fixed the most bullshit battle goal in the game.
Yeah, there we go.
Nice.
All right, cool. Next one. Unlocked Power. All right. So this is an attack X targeting X plus 1 at range 2 plus X, where X is equal to the number of open doors on the map.
Okay.
All right. So you're going to get bigger and bigger attacks, bigger range, bigger targets as this goes up, which also means bigger healing.
Yeah, that's fair. What about the scenarios where it's one room? I have to rely on my doors instead of doors built in.
Well, you place one door, Bastion of Hope.
Yeah, I know. That's one door. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
All right, here's one that's in an interactive card. Okay, so this one's called Knock Knock.
Who's there?
Pain! So open all doors and perform attack 3, range 3 from the hex of that door. Okay? And for each attack you gain 1 XP. So you open all the doors and then you get to attack from those hexes.
That's so cool. That's a bit Deathwalker-y with a door.
It is. But guess what happens when you attack from those doors?
They're pushed?
You heal everybody.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's built into the original persistent, right? Yeah.
And the last card I've got is You Shall Not Go Any Further. I didn't want to get sued by Mr. Jackson. So this is close all doors. And heal 1 to you and all allies for each door closed.
Nice. Okay.
Now
but I don't have to play that because that just only heals me and everyone.
that's true. That's
What's
true.
my
I don't think
incentive?
there's no benefit in that. Yeah. That's it. So now there was an honorable mention that I couldn't figure out of working it into the door type theme, but it's in the kind of cutting room floor as they say, but I reckon we could fit it in somewhere with more time. This is called Deady in a Tempest. Okay.
Oh,
So it's initiative 23
oh okay.
because that's
Yeah,
what goes that right.
that's right.
Now it's jump 3 +1 for every ally affected by this card.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right. All
Nice.
allies get +2 move and jump on this turn,
Yeah.
and gain 1 positive condition for each door opened by an ally during this move.
Okay.
So I kind of had it there, and I wasn't sure I added the door thing, but I was like, you always complained that birds never helped you, so here it is. Here's the birds that helps you, and the more that you help other people, the more it
Mm.
helps you.
No, I like it. I like it. Dormancer's a reality. How does that make it happen?
Yeah.
Give me door mini standees that actually open, and I'll be happy.
All right. Now there's really quickly to round it off. There was a couple of perks and a master. Right, because these are
Yep.
so that one of the perks is an amD, right? So it's for your attack modifier deck. Replace a 0 with a +1, and if you place a door this turn, make it a +3.
Ooh.
It's nice and simple. One of those do your thing
Yep.
and put that in. Now, I only went through 5 cards, so there's obviously heaps more, and I would envision we'd have more door placing type ability. So you're going to get a lot of doors out there.
Yep.
Now this is your true ticker.
Oh, okay.
So
Your tickets are juicy.
Yep, and it's got a name.
Okay.
Right? The name of it is No Prep, No Worries.
Whoa.
Okay. After setup, but before you select cards, play 2 of your persistent cards.
After setup.
But before you select cards,
Yeah.
you may play 2 persistent cards.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
No prep, no worries, right?
No, perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, no prep, no worries.
And because you are forced to take the I'm playing support card, it's guaranteed to always be.
Now, that card, does it have to come with me?
What do you mean?
Well, what's stopping me from bringing 11 other cards and leaving that one at home?
Because the bottom of text on it said, if you don't
have to.
select this in your opening hand, you have to swap something out to bring this.
Gotcha.
And then this forces.
Okay. You've thought of everything. Gotcha.
And the masteries. So there's 2 masteries. One is place, open, or close a door on each of your turns during the scenario.
Okay.
So just in line with kind of how the other masteries go.
Yep.
And the other one, which is probably harder for you, right? Heal any ally once for any value at any time in the scenario.
Okay. So, okay. That's harder for me. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, interesting. Well done. That is very, very well thought out. I kind of want us to kind of create a prototype and take it for a spin.
I have laughed at and with you, not at you, because I think it's a funny thing to talk about with the door situation and summoning. But when I started fleshing it out, I actually started coming up with a lot of really cool ideas. I'm like, okay, as dumb as this is, I feel like this has legs. And I mean, maybe the mechanics could get exchanged for something not doors.
It'd be like portals or something, right? Like, kind of. But doors make it way better.
Well, they make it definitely more interesting. And they can. I imagine that this class would be a rules nightmare for Dwarf.
Yeah, love it.
Right.
Thank you for making that a reality as well.
That's like a bonus on this class existing, is that I feel like he would have so many door related questions.
No, perfect.
So,
no, well done. Yeah, you really made that for me. I'm a little worried that mine is not 100% made for you, but it's definitely kind of made around you. That makes sense.
It's like Christmas. You give gifts to make other people happy. It doesn't.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not a measuring contest.
Yes, that's true. Well, have I got a character? Not from IKEA, but from the local school. We'll go with that. We have the Gazperience, and fireworks and pyro goes off. So medium health, 11 cards. We're on the same thought. So yeah, I feel like that's a nice, easy average though.
We didn't want to make it OP, right? And go like 12 cards, maximum health. So it's kind of like, oh, what card can I pick that's like not like cheating? But 11 seems okay.
Yeah. Elements are earth, so it's got a lot of earth infused because I haven't seen very much of it in the game. And earth is also green, and it's grass. Correct. Just side note, who do we think out of the unlocked characters might be an earth character?
Out of
The locked ones. The locked ones.
Oh, the locked. I don't know.
Because we don't have anyone that uses earth, really. Mark made it a little bit. It was one of the few elements that we barely see.
The Meteor used it as like a secondary one. The Bone Shaper used it as a secondary one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we must have a couple coming up. I reckon maybe a Fist. Fist might.
Oh, yeah.
Like Ice and Grass.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
The Gasperience is a very, 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 very old Savas who uses his wisdom and knowledge to change the battlefield for their party. So far that I've seen, Frosthaven and Gloomhaven don't have an XP-based class. The Gasperience utilizes XP, and that XP is constantly lost and gained. The Gasperience can spend 10 XP and 15 gold during a road event to redraw the road event. This applies to road events only. The Gasperience is the only character that can D-level.
Great.
Meaning, you remove cards when you no longer meet the level requirement. When you re-level, which is only once per scenario / outpost phase, you can get another perk though.
Okay.
There are additional perks for this reason on your list. This also has a respec built into the class. All right. You determine how high or how low you go. Abilities on some cards will look a little bit like this. So you have one that has a persistent with 6 of those little circles on it. Each one gives you retaliate 1, shield 1. All right. When you take 4 or more damage, you lose 1 XP. When the token slides off, you gain 10 XP.
Okay.
All right. Attack X, where X is the number of XP you spent.
With my
clutch.
deck, there's no way I'm drawing that. I'm just putting nothing into that.
But it could be so clutch. It's a lost card as well. Attack 4, range 3. Spend 2 XP per condition to apply any conditions to your target. Right. We've got move 1, loot 1, bottom. Remove 7 XP to increase the radius to a loot 2. Or 13 XP to increase it to a loot 3.
God.
Which... These are all up to you. We've got a triple perker. At the end of a scenario, you may transfer any number of XP to another character. If this causes a character to level up, any excess is lost.
Okay.
And finally, your mastery. One of them anyway. Finish 3 scenarios at 2 XP to the next level. Which you would have done already. Well, actually, no, you missed out on one. But the thing is, you can control that. You can. There are some of the cards. You're going to have other cards that will generate a little bit more, but then you're going to have times where you're going to want to spend it just for that particular moment.
Just burn
and you
it.
can agonize over your XP bar as much as you want because you are now completely in control of it.
Very good. Very good. No, I enjoyed that. That would be fun to play.
Well, we better wrap it up there. Thank you all again for a marvelous year last year. If you want to contact us, our socials should be in the show notes, as well as the newest link to our little Discord community where we have 2 Pokemon now. Watch them as Gaz and I train them by dueling them against each other every day until one faints. We don't have one of those magic healing centers. Maybe it's an unlocked building.
Oh, the Poke Center. Yes.
Yeah. Until then, you've listened to a Master's Degree in Rolling Terribly. I've been your host, Eddie, and alongside me, as Gaz.
And remember, for the last time in 2023 / it's now 2024, when it comes to rolling terribly, it's all in the wrist.